Yo, people, we back again for another episode. Football Heritage with me, your boy Josh, Denzel, Sarab. We've got a special guest with us, Jack K in the building. What are you telling me, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Lovely stuff, man. We're all blessed, man. We're all blessed. If you didn't realize, last week was actually our 50th episode. I didn't even realize till after, but 50, let's keep going, man. More content definitely coming on the way. But yeah, man, you man keep on supporting. And the way you support, like, comment, subscribe, and share with your people. So let's get straight into it. We got a couple other guys coming through. So those are Arsenal fans as well, alongside Jack. But we're gonna leave the Arsenal topic till later, till they join. But the other big game this week was Chelsea versus Man City. Man City got the dub, big dub. They're saying that Pep's finally worked out Tuchel, but let me go to Sarab. What was your thoughts on the game? Do you think Pep has actually figured out Tuchel, or did Tuchel mess up by playing 3-5-2?
Bit of a cliche, but it's probably a bit of both. I think the 3-5-2 and just being so reserved from minute one was just a bit naive. And like I noticed a lot from as well, like the closing down from City's front six was just it was just suffocating you guys. You couldn't get out, you couldn't build up any patterns of play. And as soon as, because it was very easy to get past Werner and Lukaku, and then they were literally in against the back eight or whatever. So it was very easy for them to get through. And if we're being honest, the 1-0 was pretty flattering. But would I say that Tuchel's been found out? I don't think so. I think Tuchel understood that they could have been beaten a lot more, and they played poorly. But I don't think City weren't ruthless enough, and they didn't. Like Jesus' goal wasn't. It didn't really look like a goal scoring opportunity, if I'm being honest. I think you can agree with that, Josh. But there were times in which I think they got a bit over-egged that Laporte and Diaz had a very good game. I think Lukaku didn't have his greatest game, but he got both of them booked. He was still running ragged at them, and he was still, providing chances for Werner and whatnot, and getting them to run in behind. Could realise what was going on and made some changes at half-time. But yeah, City did what they can do normally do, and if you lose to City, it's not a bad thing. But yeah, I think that it keeps the title race healthy. But no, there's nothing really too much to learn, I don't think.
No, I hear that. No, the fact that you said what's it called? That 1-0 flatters them. I don't know. I think I slightly disagree with that because you see what you're saying about Lukaku. I 100% agree with that. Yeah. I think Lukaku and Werner, because when I'm looking at the 3-5-2, so there's a couple ways that we can look at this here, is that the fact that Chelsea didn't have a Mount or a Ziyech playing in between the lines kind of affected the way Chelsea could play. You're basically looking at Cover and Kante to continuously press the ball. And I mean, with that sort of press, when you have 2-3 guys on you, you can't consistently keep dribbling to almost bypass a press. So I thought not having two players in that between the lines like how we usually do with Havertz and the Mount really hurt us, because when Jorginho has the ball, the only real option he has is beside him, which is Kante or Kovacic.
Yeah.
But I feel like the system that Tuchel used wasn't a bad one per se. I feel like what actually affected us was that, as we were saying with Lukaku and Werner, was their inability to hold the ball up. And you saw sometimes when the ball come to Lukaku, bounce straight off him. Obviously, Denzel, you've seen at United, his first touch at times can be a bit, Tim's like Timberland-like. So
yeah,
I feel like that's what really affected Chelsea, the execution. I do agree that Tuchel probably showed Pep a bit too much respect by playing so conservatively. But again, City were the better team, but I don't think it was a beatdown.
Yeah.
But
I don't think City were like exceptional, but they were just very, very good.
Let me come to Denzel. Do you think this win for Pep lays down a marker for not even just the Premier League, but even the Champions League? Do you think this is the season starting win for Man City?
I don't know about that. But it's a big statement win because of I feel like over the past couple of weeks, because of their slow start, people say it's a slow start. I think they've had a decent start. It's just people being reactionary, I guess. But they've they've had the calls that Chelsea were the favourites coming in. Obviously, people were very impressed by Chelsea, and they've silenced the doubters, I guess, of that game because of a lot of people expected Chelsea to win, especially with Tuchel's record against Pep. Yeah, they did a good job of beating them. From what I heard, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the game, but from what I heard, Man City did dominate possession and dominated the game from what I did hear. But yeah, but I wouldn't say it's like it kickstarts their season per se. They weren't really doing that bad to begin with anyway. It was just they had the loss and then a draw. I think it wasn't a terrible start to the season anyway. But yeah, maybe because it's Man City, everyone expected them to get maximum points out of the first 6 games, which is kind of unrealistic, especially in the league that we have right now. But yeah, I would say that they were already started to begin that before this game. But yeah.
100%. What about you, Jack? What's your thoughts on what do you think the meaning behind this result? Do you think it's too early to really put a meaning behind the result, or do you think this can really have a shift on who's the favourite for the title?
Well, I didn't watch the game, but from what I've heard, City were very after the game. They were all falling on the ground, weren't they? I'm pretty sure. So it means something to them at least, and whether it defines the season is another matter, because I feel Chelsea have had probably the hardest start out of probably the 4 title contenders, you could say, in Liverpool, Man City, United, and Chelsea. And to be honest, they beat Arsenal, beat Tottenham, drew to Liverpool with 10 men. I don't think it's a bad result for Chelsea. Let's be honest, what are they? 1-2 points off the top. It's not really a season defining. Obviously, you need to win them games, but it's not really season defining. I feel like this season is going to be a lot of ups and downs. So that's not really season defining to me.
100%, I hear that. Ori, what about you? What was your thoughts on the Chelsea, Man City? Where do you think it went wrong for Chelsea, and how big a win is this for Pep, would you say?
Yeah, obviously, it's always good to win a game against the top 6 per se. City looked really good, so I did actually watch the game. City looked really good. They had obviously most of the possession, most of the ball. Obviously, I know Tuchel has been like criticized for this, so I'm not going to like brush on it too much, but he does tend to play defensive football at times. But this is usually against like better opponents and stuff like that. So against Spurs, he didn't really have that problem. First half he kind of did against Spurs. Obviously second half I think he just kind of like changed the game plan per se and just kind of like came out more, just because I'm sure like halftime it was like, okay, Spurs aren't good enough. If we do actually play behind their lines, it's not going to cost us significantly. But as for City, he was trying to play cautious, which obviously, it's very understandable. It's City, they have quality players. I mean, we played them like, obviously we had a red card, but we played them like a couple weeks ago, and we got hammered even though we had a red card. But so it's understandable why you'd want to play cautiously against City, because obviously once you leave a few gaps in behind, they'll take advantage, they could score. So it's understandable why he would want to do that, but at the same time you need to have a positive approach to the game. So you can't just go in thinking that, okay, we're going to lose, or always going to be on the back foot. You kind of have to have a positive approach, because there are only 2 ways that's going to go. So either you're going to win or lose. Obviously you could draw, but that's just a really negative approach to the game. So yeah, just besides being too cautious, I think that was the only thing that like really cost Chelsea per se. Lukaku didn't really look to like get in the game properly. I don't know if I blame that on him or the system, but he didn't really get into the game properly. Werner too, I mean, yeah, what can I say about Werner? He's just not been able to actually, perform at any level that is needed at this stage. He didn't look impressive to me as well. We're discussing last week what Chelsea's like best front three was or best front two. And honestly, I did go for Lukaku and Werner, but at this point, I really do not know. So it is really confusing in terms of like, because Mount as well, he could have helped a bit, but I don't know, it's just very confusing. Chelsea's like front two, front three, like nobody really knows what works. But I wouldn't panic if I was like a Chelsea fan. It's losing 1-0 to City isn't like the end of the world per se. So it's something that they can easily bounce back on and try and work on that and like just see how they can improve in the coming games.
100%, 100%. You mentioned about Lukaku. There's allegations brewing. There's allegations brewing. Apparently, he's a small game player. What are you saying? Apparently,
where's the evidence to back this up?
I mean, they're saying he doesn't score.
Or people just saying this?
What's his record?
Because I haven't seen anything that supports that.
I know in Everton, he did have like he scored a lot against not a lot, but
exactly, he scored a lot against the Big Six.
He did have.
He didn't score a lot against the Big Six.
No, that's why I said not a lot, but I do know that he has a couple against the Big Six.
Yeah, it's not a bad record.
In Everton, I think he had like 2 against us. I know he had a couple against Chelsea.
He scored against United.
He has 16.
And people are bringing up the Belgium as well.
He has 16 goals against the Big Six. 16.
So that's his United and Everton career together?
Yeah. He has 1 against Arsenal, 3 against United.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, yeah, 3 against United. 1 against Liverpool. No, wait, 2 against Liverpool.
How many games has he played?
That's what I'm thinking.
Going through it.
No games.
I know he has it. Yep.
Because against the Big Six, I'm sure that he has played at least more than double of that. So he has played more than 32 games.
Yeah, he would have played double that.
Yeah.
And this is about his Belgium as well, because obviously for Belgium he scores a lot of goals, but how many of them are against top tier? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, actually it's apparently allegedly it's bad. Allegedly.
It's probably like it must be like 40, 50 appearances because if he's playing
and Hall is actually stacking up. Europa League, he scored an own goal. Italy, he missed a chance. I mean, he scored penalties, but people are looking at it saying, can you rely on Lukaku in the biggest games to really show up? Do you think that's a valid
question for you? Is it?
What are you saying, Sarah?
No, I was gonna say like, is this question like, do you think like this could affect any title chances with Lukaku being like this? If he's not bagging against top 6.
I mean, the majority of the games you play is against the smaller teams anyway. So I mean,
yeah,
it's not really going to matter too much.
I don't think it's a concern really. Like, you don't need just him to be scoring. If he gets 20 goals in the season, I don't think it matters who it's really against.
I 100% agree with that, man. Literally, but I mean, we've already spoken about the front three, but it's just a worry for Chelsea that people have been saying for a while is just like okay, outside of Lukaku, who's the guy in it? And I mean, I know they tried to say it was Mount, then they tried to say Ziyech.
You've got guys. If you've got guys, if they get consistent time in the team, then we'll see who's the main guy.
So your highest goal scorer last season had like about 6 goals, was it not?
It was Jorginho in the league,
7 pens.
So what, like Tarab said, having someone come in and score, maybe we're predicting.
You just need Ziyech, Pulisic, Havertz just chip in with like 6-7 goals each,
and
that's literally it. And Lukaku to get 20 goals, then you'll be fine.
Lukaku is a world-class striker. I think thinking about like top 6 and stuff like that. I mean, like Denzel always brings up a lot of time. Suarez went through that with 31 goal season, and I mean, how many times did he really score against the Big Six? Even though I still rate that as the best Premier League season ever, and so at the end of the day, there is no extra points for scoring against the Big Six. If we're being real, it's the same 3 points you get at Norwich. It's the same 3 points you'd get at City. So if he can score his 3 goals in Norwich and get you your 3 points, then good for that's all well and good. So scoring against the big 6 or even winning games against the big 6 doesn't always guarantee like you would win the league or you would get and do stuff like that. You could literally win the league by just beating the smaller teams, which Tuchel is probably looking at. And I mean, he has had good performances. So you played Liverpool and City, and the Liverpool game you had a red card and you still held on to a point. So yeah, it's not looking all that bad. And I'm sure he'll get his goals against the big 6 this season. I mean, it'll be very surprising if he doesn't.
He did score against Arsenal, but that's the only one in it. But
I even literally forgot about that.
Yeah.
He's already even scored against the big 6 season. So that's not something that I'll say is a concern per se. And in Inter, he did come up like in a lot of big games per se, like in terms of context. I remember when they played Milan, that was literally like one of the most important games, and he literally like dominated that game, and he was just like the main man. He probably was that match probably like turned the tide into their favor for the Scudetto. So yeah, he can be that guy like at certain moments. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried in terms of like
Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. Any final thoughts on the Chelsea Man City? Anything that we noticed that needs to be pointed out, or I think that's it.
Nardo was so good. I don't know if anyone has
said. Yeah, he was good. He was good. He was
really good. Like probably one of the standout players for me in that game. But besides that, yeah, that's just it really.
They wanted to sell him as well. Bernardo's that guy, man. Bernardo's done his thing.
Before you move on, Josh, I do feel there's a lot of like around Chelsea. There's a lot of like doubts about him. I don't get why.
Who?
You say about like around Chelsea, like you're saying, will it dent their title chances? Not really. I think when you're talking about Lukaku, I was going to put in before, but I was waiting for Roy to finish. You said about him for Lukaku for Belgium. I just feel Belgium's side have underperformed as a whole. I don't think that's really down to Lukaku singularly, to be honest. And this season, he's against the big teams. Lukaku always scored against Arsenal. Against Tottenham, I thought he was quite unlucky not to score. Obviously, Liverpool, you're down 10 men, so you're holding for the points. That's a bit different. But I don't think he's had a bad start compared to what some people are expecting of Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean, there's always an asterisk around everybody's name of they haven't done this, they haven't done that. Like CR7 hasn't scored a goal in the knockout, in it, San Marino tax. But there's always an asterisk in it, so you gotta leave it there. Yeah, you gotta leave it there. But let's move on to the North London derby, innit? North London derby. Arsenal claimed the bragging rights. And they were saying Arsenal in the relegation fight, but come on, man.
Wait, George, I'm sorry to call you short. Just because I came late. Was Chelsea and City the first topic?
Yeah. But yeah, let me even come to you first. What was your thoughts on the game? What did you see that impressed you a lot? And is this a step in the right direction for Arsenal?
Yeah, obviously excited. Always nice to win a North London derby. Like I was talking with Sarah before the game, or just in general, we did feel like that was our strongest XI in terms of like all things considered, and player profile. So that was our best XI that we could put out. So it was good to see that we dominated so well. Obviously, my biggest concern would be that how we would keep that same lineup fit like for the rest of the season, because we always do have injury concern. I think even Xhaka was, he got taken off in between the game. We always have certain injury problems with some players. Partey, he's had a lot of injury scares. Tierney as well last season, and yeah, but if we can keep this lineup fit for like a good percentage of our games, so like 85% or so, we should be looking at finishing like, very high up in the table potentially. Obviously the problem is having everyone fit and stuff, but yeah. Talking about was the back five. and how Arteta just kind of like constructed that. Because I think every player right now in the back five is his player except Tierney. So I think Tierney was the only one that he met there. I think that was an Emery signing, yeah. But besides that, the Gabriel, the Whites, Tomiyasu, and Ramsdale, and what he basically has done with all those signing is just make sure that he gets players who are very comfortable on the ball. And I do have to credit Josh because he was very, when I was very like hesitant about the Ramsdale signing, he was pointing out that could you think that the reason was because Ramsdale was good on the ball? And obviously I was just like, I was just against the Ramsdale idea. So I wasn't even trying to be logical and think that, one of the reasons we could be signing him was because, he's comfortable on the ball and that's the type of profile that we're trying to get. But obviously that's why I'm not the coach. Ramsdale has improved us significantly. And that's just because Leno just didn't do certain things that we needed. He wasn't brave enough. He didn't command like our back line properly enough. He wasn't confident in playing passes. So he would just hoof a long ball. And one thing I always say is that as a keeper, if you do play risky football, you would make mistakes. But at the end of the day, the pros and the cons end up being, the pros end up being more. Edison makes a lot of mistakes sometimes when he's playing out from the back. And Pep knows that. Pep knows he's already accepted that. I know my keeper is going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, playing out from the back is my style of play. And, I need him to do that to be able to play better football. So Ramsdale does do that really well. He looks so comfortable on the ball, like even better than I could have imagined. Obviously Martinez too was also good on the ball, but I think he wasn't really trying to compete with Leno for the number one position, even though like I'm sure he would have gotten it like in a couple of games eventually, but I guess he just wasn't patient. But anyway, Ramsdale does look promising in that position. White, I think why everyone obviously knows White is probably one of the most comfortable CBs on the ball in Premier League. So he was also really good. Long balls, all of that. And his aerial duels looked really good as well. So he was winning the first balls, even though I did have a problem with that for him, especially in the first game against Tony. But obviously Tony is very good, like as I winning aerial duels and stuff like that. Then Gabriel, obviously solid. Tierney solid, and Tomiyasu looked so promising. So what I really like about him is that how he can, obviously, like he's a center back and a right back as well. So a lot of times he knows how to really adjust into the back three if he needs to. And he also knows how to position himself up front when needed. So he's more or less just like a very complete player all around, which I really like about that. So yeah, for the first time in like a really long time, we actually have like a back line that I can say, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be scared of going into this and like conceding like 5 goals like we just did against City. But yeah, obviously different sets of players in that game. But now like I feel confident in a back line, which I haven't as an Arsenal fan for like a really long time. So that is actually good to have. Obviously the attack, what can I say? The kids, they looked so good. Saka, Smith Rowe, all looked promising, all played brilliant football. Aubameyang also like looked really good. Also more aspects to his game. So I think where he held up the ball for Smith Rowe for that second goal, that was
that was cool.
Yeah. And obviously Aubameyang has been criticized of not being a complete striker per se, and now he just like gets goals and doesn't really like contribute to the all-round play. But in that game he looked as complete as I'd ever seen him, so that was very promising as well. Odegaard, brilliant. Partey, brilliant. I think everyone was just on their game that day, and from the moment we just kicked the first ball, I just could kind of tell that yeah, I don't see us losing this game. Obviously, also because Spurs have been, awful.
Should we talk about Nuno again, or should we leave them? Because we spoke about them last week.
About Nuno, and I literally said,
I want to battle them. I want to battle them.
Now,
you want to what?
Because let's be honest, that defending for some of those goals was horrendous. What their midfield, non-existent. Højbjerg, Ndombele, Ali, have a day off. That was embarrassing. They was like, it was comical. Honestly,
I
it
mean,
was so
what
funny to
happened?
watch.
Yeah, go Denzel.
What happened with Harry Kane? I was seeing stuff about Harry Kane dropping in too deep, playing at CDM, not getting into
Yeah, he
positions.
was
I didn't watch the
literally, he
game,
lost the
so but
ball.
I heard that he played. Yeah, I heard he had a
Denzel, he weren't
bad
playing.
game.
He weren't playing DM. He was playing centre half.
Really.
Hey, he literally lost the ball, ran down halfway through the pitch,
See, the
and then
thing
he
with
won the ball
Kane,
back. Saka scores.
I think the thing with Kane is that, it's one of them things, it's like the manager. When it works, no one criticizes. When it's not working, people are just on you. Kane's been dropping deep for a minute. He loses the ball for the
Nah, he
goal.
started doing it last season. Under Mourinho, I guess, in that system was where it was much prominent.
It wasn't actually under Mourinho. Like he did used to drop deep. Like
Yeah, but it was more like
it
under
was
Mourinho.
more visible, and that was just because like they didn't have a number 10. So like I think once Ericsson left, it kind of
Fair enough.
it kind of became like more obvious that he was trying to do like the all round and fill like the gap of Ericsson per se. But yeah, it was I still don't understand why they would let Mourinho go for like a significantly worse coach, because I mean the reason why they got rid of Mourinho was because he was playing negative football per se, and you've just got someone who plays negative football but in a worse way. So I don't know.
You see,
they didn't think they were going to end up with him though. That's the thing.
But you see what the worst thing. Let's look at Nuno. Fuck what Spurs did, yeah. But let's look at Nuno, yeah. The way this guy sets up here, his fullbacks barely push up, so he's using three midfielders that's like basically are meant to cover the width of the pitch, and you're playing Ndombele and Dele Alli. Are you dumb? Are you? I shouldn't call a manager dumb because he knows more than me, but still, like, where's the intensity with those two, bruv? Like, if you're gonna play Ndom, at least play Skip then instead. Like, at least like have two midfielders that can cover it.
I saw someone say that Ndombele has only completed nine games.
I saw that, yeah.
And he's been there for like this is like his third season. So I don't know. Make up that way you will, but that is
just, fitness is shit.
That's just awful from a professional footballer. Like nine full games. So like in almost 3 seasons.
You know that reminds me of when Lacazette first came and Wenger used to sub him off all the time, like 60th minute.
When he didn't have like the lungs to run a full 90. That is just, I don't know. That is just very. Then Dele Alli, he looked awful. Everyone more or less didn't show up for it. They're just out of the game. It shouldn't have been 3-0. I was really upset with the goal that we conceded. Just because, just crazy. They went to Palace, so literally almost like the whole of London is just like scored 3 against them, like back to back. In the first 3 games of the season, they were top of the league, and obviously their socials and all of them, they were getting very excited about that. So short-sighted. It's September. We're on top of them now, and obviously I'm not going to get excited and say, okay, now we're on top of them, but it's also something that like I will also have to be patient because the season still has a really, 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 really long way to go. So right now, obviously, it looks promising for us. But yeah, I would just like to see how everything pans out, and hopefully we do have finished, in a good position. So what I ideally expect from this season is that we do kind of challenge for the top 4. Not saying we'll finish it, but it would be good to see us like push for it, and just try and actually get into it. That would be what I expect per se from the season. That's what I expected before we started. Actually, I expected the top 4 finish before we started. So it would be really, really, really good if we could do that. But at the same time, I'm not going to act like I'll be disappointed if we just miss top 4 by a couple. I'll be upset, but it's promising if we actually do challenge or do try and finish in the top 4. But yeah, right now everything is just looking quite good. And obviously, if we do add a couple more signings to the squad we currently have, like next summer, maybe even January, throwing a few players there. Guess the only way right now is kind of forward for us. Obviously, we just have to see all of that. I think Brighton, we play Brighton next. Brighton have looked really good.
That'll be a
I
tough
I
match.
think
That'll be a tough match.
they're playing Palace now, are they not?
I think so. Danny Welbeck scored.
Man, that Danny Welbeck, you know. Come
Wait,
on.
did he just
He's actually bagged a couple, recently. He's doing his thing.
did Welbeck just score?
I think so. I think it came up that he chipped over Vincent Guaita. I could be wrong there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he did, but anyways, but yeah, Brighton have looked really. I think if they win today, they go top of the league. So, that would actually be a good challenge for us next week, and just kind of a different game from what we've kind of seen all season, because we haven't really had like a game like Brighton per se. But yeah, for now, everything just looks quite promising and exciting, and yeah, can't wait to see like what the future kind of holds for us per se. But yeah.
Let me go to my or his fellow Arsenal fan. I was about to say my fellow Arsenal fan. Fuck that, man. But Jack, what are you saying about the victory, man, against North London, against your North London rivals? What's the feeling like, and what do you take from the game?
A lot of what I had has been said, but one thing I got to address, I saw something terrible now about it as well. I think I can't remember what source put it out. They put it was a fans vote of before the game of Arsenal and Tottenham combined 11. How fans can vote with Dele Alli in a full Tottenham team with Chest putting Emerson, who hasn't had even a single good game for Spurs, at right back, is disgraceful. They put Lucas on the right hand side. The guy doesn't even. Yeah, and they were strong votes. It was like 70-80%. But yeah, so on the game on a whole, there was all good performances. I don't think there was one bad one. The only one was a bit underperforming was Kieran Tierney, but it wasn't really. It's not like a bad performance. It was just the ball was going a lot more down the right hand side, which is a good thing because we're very reliant on the left hand side. Last season we was anyway. So if we can get it onto the right hand side and it's creating chance on the right hand side, it takes a bit of weight off Kieran Tierney's. But yeah, on a whole, it was not really a faultless performance. To be fair, I saw I think it was Graham Souness say something about how he was more focusing on how poor Tottenham were. I'm not like Arsenal pressed Tottenham in every single corner of the pitch. Aubameyang, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what the state exactly is, but I'm pretty sure he won more aerial duels than the two centre halves of Tottenham combined. And Aubameyang does not. He don't go up for aerial duels. Let's be honest. Ben White, very underrated after North London derby, I feel. The last three games, I know it's been Norwich, Burnley and obviously Spurs, three little teams, but he's looked very dominant in the air. Bear in mind, they said after the first game against Brentford, he's very poor aerially. But yeah, on a whole...
I saw it a couple of times with him and Harry Kane. He looked confident. Yeah. He did well, yeah.
And I think it showed Brentford was just a one-off game because Van Dijk struggled against Tony the other night as well.
He's looking like that guy, He's looking like that guy from the little I've seen of him, but let's see more.
That's what I mean. And the thing is, I think Gabriel and White complement each other well. Like the whole defence complements each other. Even Ramsdale was a bit speculative on him. Even though I was going to back him even if he did bad, I'll still back him. But the fact he's started off his life at Arsenal quite well, I think, 2 clean sheets and obviously only conceded one against Spurs, which he could have done a little bit better, I think. But you can't really knock him for it. He made a one worldy of a save right at the end.
But let me just give you a follow-up question now, and I'm gonna go around the room to see what's everybody else's thoughts on this. Is Arteta's vision or philosophy, you'd like to say, is this starting to come through now? Because as Artea was saying, this is his back five now. Obviously, he came. Tini was already there when he came, but you're getting the feeling now that this is firmly his team. Like he's beginning to cement this is my cause and this is my principles to the players. So as an Arsenal fan, do you think his vision is now starting to come through, or is it a case of let's just wait because we've had games like this? Because I remember last season against Leeds, Arsenal were very impressive where they beat Leeds 4-2, but they never sustained it. So are you saying this is the beginning, or we should need to just calm down? What are you saying, Jack?
I feel there's always been a blueprint. He's always wanted to play at the back. It's clear. I just don't think he's had the players to do that. He's got the players now, and I just don't feel if it does go wrong like it did last season, there's no excuses. He can't hide behind anything. I know they're young players, but he can't hide behind anything. He's got his players. He's got his defence. You could arguably say he might need another midfielder, but he's got his whole team lined out. Whether it will go correctly is another story, but I feel like there's actually an identity to Arsenal than there was from last season.
100%, I hear that. Ori, what about you? Is Arteta's philosophy starting to shine through now?
So more or less, it was kind of obvious that the back five that he was trying to kind of get was one that could comfortably play out from the back. And he's kind of like, put the squad together for that to be able to be possible. White was obviously the David Luiz replacement, someone who can spring those long balls, and White is superbly comfortable on the ball. He could also play in the midfield if wanted. So, that just shows how good he is as a centre back on the ball. Then obviously Gabriel, a left-footed centre back, then a right-footed centre back, which he has both of them. One of them who sprays the long balls, does the delivery. One of them who's more of the physical one, does the actual challenge. So that's what Jack was saying about how they complement each other per se. And Gabriel also is good on the ball. Then obviously Tierney he didn't get, but Tierney is kind of like the left back that he would already want. So he was kind of lucky to meet Tierney in the club. A left back who can really push up front, deliver those balls in, and a right back who is also comfortable on the ball, who can slot into the centre back to make a back three, and who can also position himself up front when needed, and a goalkeeper who is also comfortable on the ball, takes risks, and can play balls forward. So more or less right now, this is his perfect, I wouldn't say perfect, but very close to his perfect back five, just because obviously nothing is really perfect per se, but this is the back five that he would feel really comfortable with. So from now on, because I've always said that, a lot of times when people criticize me for backing Arteta or this thing, I've always said that, he doesn't really have a lot of his players. Even though I did sound like a broken record saying all of that, but it was true. We're playing with Bellerin, Holding all those times, and right now, I'm holding for a couple of games. He already looks like was just such a different side, just in terms of how comfortable we look on the ball. So that being said, now that he does actually have players that I know that fit his profile, that he went out to get himself, I would definitely start holding him to a higher standard. So if we did actually lose the Spurs game, I would have been, very critical of that. So from now on, in terms of our build up and our defensive structure, I would be very critical of them. So I wouldn't be expecting us to concede, ridiculous amounts of goals, and I would expect us to build up really well, just because of the quality of players that we have and how good they are on the ball. So those are two things that I'll really be looking at from now on. Obviously, there's still a few things that we need to sort out in the midfield, maybe, and in the attack per se. But yeah, I would definitely hold him to a much, much higher standard now. So although I'm happy with the win against Norwich, but I expected him to win those games. So from now on, I would definitely be holding him to a higher standard. But obviously, it's good that we won those 3 games, and let's just see how we do. Obviously, consistency is also something that I would be looking at. So for the next few games, we should try and just get as many points as we can get. I do know that obviously if we win our next, let's say 4 games, or even I think even 3, we probably will be in the top 4 already, because the points gap between all the teams aren't that much. So I'm pretty confident we win our next 3 or 4. We probably would be in the top 4 already. So that's really something to look out for, just to see that, once we do actually find ourselves in the top 4, the confidence around the team will just be so much more higher. And then we can just kind of build up on that and just try and remain consistent across the season. But yeah, positive signs. It's looking good for now. But yeah.
I'm just very conscious of time because I know Denzel's gonna be heading off soon. So let's quickly. We've spoken a lot about United and Oli, but I just wanted to get Denzel's thoughts on the game against Aston Villa. What was your thoughts on the performance? I think from what I heard, because I didn't watch it myself, is that it was just the same as usual. So, what was your general thoughts on the game, and what needs to be improved on?
It was just a poor, toothless, spineless performance. It's the conceding a goal late. It was bad. It was bad. Obviously we conceded from a set piece. And there was a lot of talk during the build up in the game and during the game about how Villa set up in set pieces. Obviously they got the goal from the set piece, and then Bruno missing a pen as well. It wasn't a good day. It was a pretty bad day. I thought Greenwood had a bad game, if I'm being honest. He should have scored at least 2 goals. And he was doing this thing where he was just running around and shooting on sight all the time. He wasn't looking up and pre in the pass. He was just, the ball's on my legs. Let me do a couple step overs and just trying to shoot. He wasn't actually thinking, maybe I should square it to Bruno, who's in the middle free, or maybe I should pass it to Ronaldo, who's there free. He was just literally licking shots left, right, and center, not thinking about anything, which I understand. It's not going our way. The game's not going our way. Maybe you want a bit of magic, but literally every single time he was touching the ball, he was just shooting, and it was getting on my nerves. So I feel sometimes he needs to know when he needs to do the shooting thing. Who else can I point out? I just think overall it's just a bad performance. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the setup of the Fredo McTominay. Was it Fredo McTominay who played? I'm not entirely sure if it was Fredo McTominay.
I think it
was. Yeah, I know that Fred started and Fred was frustrating me. Fred does that stupid thing where he takes a shot from outside the box, even though he knows he's never going to score from outside the box. And he tends to get bullied a lot when he's playing. Pogba on the left, I feel when you have players like Sancho, Greenwood, and Rashford's coming back soon as well, we can't be doing Pogba on the left anymore. He needs to suck it up and actually find a system that is productive and that works, instead of doing this hiding behind this 4-2-3-1 formation. It's just stupid. We're not gonna be progressive under. It's just, and it's not like he's playing against a big team. He's playing against, no disrespect to Villa, but they're not like a Man City or a Chelsea or a Liverpool. Why are you playing that formation against Villa? I don't understand. Why are you playing Fred against Villa? You have Varane and Maguire as your two centre backs, and you're still doing that stupid coverage of 2 CDMs because of one of them can't do the job of 1 CDM, so you need 2 of them. Oli is just, it's starting to irritate me now because there's no sense of consistency. Obviously, I'm not going to be reactionary. Some people are screaming Oli out. I'm not going to do that, but at the same time, I can see why people are frustrated because of the consistency isn't there, and it's getting frustrating now. When you think we're on a good path, a stupid result that comes like this and ruins everything. So it's just a bit of a mess.
Nah, I hear that, man. I think we'll go in depth with United another time because I'm just conscious of time. So I had another question for us to answer. I wanted to say, what couple teams have impressed you the most from the first 6 games? If I'm being honest, who have I really watched a lot?
I'll say West Ham's impressed me.
Yeah, West Ham's look good.
Because I didn't think they'll be able to keep up the momentum that they had last season, but it seems like they have. So I have been impressed by West Ham.
Brentwood have been impressive. Brentford. Been impressive. Brentford. I said Brentwood. Yeah, Brentwood.
Brentford. Yeah.
Hey, bro, I'm tired, man.
I think Brighton have been impressive.
Brighton.
Especially last time I was on it.
Brighton
we were talking about
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm watching it now.
Yeah,
It wasn't a pen.
I don't know what come up.
It
It must have been ruled out by VAR.
Everton have surprised me a lot as well, considering I thought their business was very poor in the summer. And Rafa's done well considering all the criticism he's come under.
Who did they bring in, sir? They brought in Damari Gray.
Townsend from Leverkusen.
I think that's
Townsend. No, but their team is rubbish. But they're doing well. Yeah, they've done pretty good. They're playing a very counter-attacking, bust way. Sort of what you associate with Rafa. Yeah, I think Everton fans are probably looking for a top 10 finish, top 8 finish. But yeah, it's too early to call, man. Like the top 4 isn't what we expected, I think. And West Ham, obviously, they're coping well at the moment. I think Leeds, they haven't had a win, considering that everyone was saying that they were going to be potentially that team to break into the top 8. I think Villa, been okay. But yeah, there's not really been too many surprises, I don't think, so far.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's quite early on.
I'd expect.
Normally at this stage, you do see one team that you're like, okay, they're definitely doing well. Like we had Everton last year, we had like other teams before that, but no one's really done that yet.
Yeah, but Everton quite fell off from the. I think they were last season everyone was just quite very reactionary. It's quite really hard to judge from these early games. But yeah, because Everton were top of the table and everyone was like, yeah, could they possibly win the title? I mean, just after 5 games. I mean, that's one thing I hate so much about the media, how people just are so quick to start. But
yeah,
eventually table will kind of take shape. I see Liverpool, City, Chelsea already comfortably in the top 4. United as well, so that probably should be the top 4. But it would be really fun if some of those teams did get dragged into a top 4 battle. Which one of them would? Obviously, I can't say, but because obviously I don't know. But I do see the weaker 2 sides of that top 4 would eventually get dragged into a top 4 battle, just because because I don't really see a huge. There might be a huge gap between 4th and the rest of the league, but it would be nice to see one of them get dragged into a top 4 battle, or even 2 of them get dragged into a top 4 battle. But yeah, for now it's looking like Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and United should be the top 4. Should be, but
yeah. I think there's a lot of teams that could go down this year. I think the quality of the bottom of the Premier League has significantly decreased.
I mean, more or less, Norwich already gone, more or less.
Norwich, I don't think Watford started well, but they're dross, honestly. Their build-up play is horrendous.
I think Southampton might get dragged into it.
Southampton, we've spoken about this a lot. I think Southampton they're in a bit of a concerning situation. And Palace, I still don't know. They could be really good. It's just Patrick Vieira, to be honest. It all depends on Patrick Vieira. Yeah, Newcastle, obviously.
A team that's been really poor this.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, a team that's been really poor this season has gone sort of under the radar. We were talking about, you mentioned teams like West Ham, Leeds breaking into the top 4, top 5, top 6 conversation. Leicester, yeah. Leicester been.
Yeah, so yeah.
I think it's a burnout, personally.
I think it's too early to say, but I mean, you never know. The signs could be there, not. But
I think everyone already knows that I've never been a fan of Rodgers.
Yeah, awful manager apparently.
this isn't unexpected for me. Yeah, eventually the squad burnout was bound to happen. I mean, they basically handed them top 4 2 times in a row, and they were like, "Nah, we're good." And now I would comfortably say there's no chance of Leicester making the top 4. I can comfortably say that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we do come back to this and somehow Leicester magically in the top 4, that would be embarrassing. But I do not think Leicester are going to make the top 4, and I do not think they might even make the top 6. So I do see a serious burnout for them. Obviously, eventually they will start winning some games, climbing high on the table. But
obviously, Fofana's injured as well. That's a big miss.
That is
Fofana's overhyped, man.
he
He's
is.
better than Soyuncu though.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, Soyuncu was quite overrated at a point as well. Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, Fofana is good though, but he can be slightly overrated in terms of overall quality. Burnley have I know Burnley, you know, everybody likes to, but Burnley have been quite disappointing for me. Just because, but I just always feel like Burnley always find their way back. So I feel like at some point in the season, Burnley will kind of pick up. Norwich, I feel like one day we need to have a discussion about Norwich because I mean this is just it's becoming a joke at this point. They literally just come just to go back down.
Yo-yo club. That's the definition.
But yeah, it's embarrassing.
Hey, all right. Remember when we were saying that Sean Dash would be a better option for Spurs?
Yep, they should have gone for Sean Dyche. I still think they should have gone for Sean Dyche. Just because I mean I'm quite confident Sean Dyche to turn like the season around for Burnley. I mean, what are they on now? They're 19th. Obviously all the points are still tied, like close by. So you know, they're not far off from like coming out of that. So I'm not too worried about that. But I do rate Dyche as a manager, and I always have. And I do think he's better than Nuno. And I just think that the reason why everybody thinks he plays defensive football is just because of like the quality of players he has, and he's just trying to make do with as much as he can. And his type of football, I would compare it like more similarly to like let's say Simeone at Atletico Madrid, rather than like call it more say. So it's more of like, I don't know if this makes sense, but positive, negative football, if that makes sense. But like I've always said, I never really like to call football negative unless it's like really bad. So like what Nuno has been playing, that is negative football. Like I would say that is negative football. But you know, when you defend well as a block, when you defend as a unit, when you like hold off games and stuff like that, like at the end of the day, like I always say, everybody has different styles of playing football. So if it works, it works. So yeah, I do rate Dyche as a manager, and I feel like the fact that he has kept Burnley up in the league all this while is so impressive. And I think he came 7th once with Burnley, which was
Yeah,
like,
he got them Europa League, man. He did his thing.
like wow, like Burnley, like the budget they gave him. I think they just had their record transfer signing for was it not Cornet, and that was 15 million. Imagine your record signing being 15 million, and you've kept the team up in the Premier League. That is amazing. So
And it's not even been like for 2-3 seasons. It's been for like 6 years, man. They've been here for time.
And he's kept them up consistently and had some top half finishes, some decent position finishes. So yeah, he's not all that. But I think he signed a new.
Yeah, he signed a new contract. Yeah,
Yeah,
2024.
Yeah, I thought he would try and like push up to a higher team in the table. That's just it, to be fair.
Before we end off, your boy Dan just joined in. What are you saying, Dan? But obviously, before, because we got one more topic after this, but I want to get Dan's thoughts on the North London derby. So 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
What did you gain from that performance? And do you think Arteta's vision is starting to come through?
I'll be very quick because I came late. Number one, the thing I gained from that performance is Spurs are in bigger trouble than I thought. In terms of underlying numbers from the first 6 games, they have like the worst in the league. I think lowest goals, lowest XG, lowest created chances.
XG.
They're awful. Spurs genuinely, and even the way they performed, the midfield was just lazy, super lazy. In terms of Arsenal, I think there was quite a few good performers. But is Arteta the man? I don't think that you can, after one performance, say he is the man, because for a year and a half, we've had nothing. And Spurs have just been beaten 3-0 by Palace. So I think, especially the media as well, I'm seeing the media and a lot of Arsenal fans get ahead of themselves. But I will give Arteta credit. It was a very, very good performance. But to say he's the man, it's a bit too soon.
I hear that 100%. Final topic. We're not going to go through the whole Champions League because I just looked through it now. There's some games I don't care about really. But the main game that we really care about is Man City versus PSG. I think that's the final. No, that was the semi-final last year. I was thinking, was that the final that we wanted last year? But no. But I want to get you guys' prediction for the game. So I'm going to start with Ori. What are you saying? PSG, Man City. What's your score prediction?
Oh, this is a tough one, to be fair. maybe I'll just go for the safe side and say a draw. Or nah, let me be bold. I think City should be able to beat PSG. Yeah, I'll say, would it be close? Maybe like 2-1. So 2-1 to City, most likely. Yeah.
That's exactly. I was thinking 2-1. I was thinking 2-0 as well,
2-1.
though. I was thinking 2-0 because I don't know if Eminem is gonna click like that. But Verratti is coming back, though. If they have Verratti in the midfield,
Yeah, Verratti, that does really, swing like stuff in their favor because that first leg they looked so awful, like in transitions and trying to come from defense to attack. And Verratti is obviously like a master of that. So yeah, it would be very good if they have Verratti back, but I think City would just have a bit more to them, most likely. Yeah.
especially with the front three, the pressing. If I don't know, man. We'll see, man. We'll see.
With a lot of intensity. So yeah, and PSG always play with like a very relaxed kind of phase. They like to just play around, and City like would press them really high. I mean, obviously that's literally what we saw like last season in the semifinals. City just kept pressing them and just like getting them to lose the ball and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll say City should probably win that most likely. But obviously it's football and it could happen. But yeah.
Jack, what about you? What's your prediction for the game?
It's going to come back to bite me, but I think it's going to be an absolute stinkfest. If it's 1-1, don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
I'd probably, if someone was to win, I'd probably put on C. So actually trying to win games. PSG just, I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah.
I wonder if a team like PSG was in England, I want the scrutiny that they would get would be. I don't know actually, because France, hey, you never know. These men might be scrutinizing them every day. But yeah, Dan, what about you? What's your prediction for the game?
I think City win 2 or 3-0. I think because PSG are having teething problems, especially in Europe, with that front three, and they've had a lot of additions. I know Ramos is going to come back, and obviously Messi started training again, and City just look like they've gelled more and have more cohesion as a team. So I think City will win 2 or 3-0.
I hear that. Denzel?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. I think City are going to win 3-0. I feel like they're just a better team overall. And I've said it before, I'm not really too impressed by PSG's monster window. I still feel like they're going to come up short in terms of the Champions League. But yeah, I think City 3-0. So I'm just watching a Palace game. Zaha's still goal. And it's missed.
Sarah, what about you? What are you saying? PSG, Man City?
Yeah, I think 2-1. I think PSG they've been lucky in the league so far. In Liga, from what I've seen, I think they should have definitely dropped points. I just can't see the front three like pressing, dropping back, helping the defense, and yeah, they're gonna be all over them. Yeah, 2-1.
I hear that, man. There's some teething issues at PSG that we'll see if they can rectify as the season goes on. But yeah, people, that's it for this week. A bit of a shorter one than usual. You know, we really like to talk about football, but if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. 50 or no, like we said, 50. This is 51st now. If you keep liking the content, keep sharing it with people, we can grow. We can spread the football in love, man. We can spread the football in love, spread the truth as well. But yeah, man, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. See us again soon. Stay blessed, people.